Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn. I have to tell you, I'm so pumped for a lot of reasons. It's snowing, and snow is my favorite. And this is actually my favorite kind of day. Only if you add the skiing in it, that's like the sauce on the sundae. But it's snowing and it's snuggly, and the fire's going. I have little Giovanni taking a nap in the chair right there. And it's just my happy bubbles way full right now. So what I want to talk about is brain training to turn your heart's desires into reality. So before you hang up on me, or go ahead, you can hang up on me, I suppose. So we're talking about manifestation, and some people are like, oh, it's so out there, and it's touchy-feely. Not with me, okay? My doctorate is in cognitive psychology, and I can talk about neurons all day long and not have one bored second. So we're talking about wiring the brain, being the author of your script, neurologically, the captain of your own ship. And so here's what we're talking about. We got to declare it first. We're going to get into this, okay? Declare it, and then believe it, then we see it, and we manifest it. And those middle two are we're going to talk about that because they're kind of sort of embedded, I guess is the best way to say, because we got to believe it to see it, but we're also going to talk about envisioning things, so they kind of go together. Okay, so the first one is to declare what your heart desire is, because if you don't know, it isn't going to come anytime soon. I mean, that's just how it goes. And again, realize that every single thought we have expands. So if that's negative, it's all full of lack and what you don't have and self-doubt and all that negative feedback loop, you're just attracting more negative to you. And that's just how it works, because we are walking balls of energy in these bodies, taking us all around. That is what is truly happening. So declare it. So you must know your heart's desire, which means you got to slow that stuff down to hear the inner voice, to hear what's going on for you. If you're flying around like a gerbil on crack, that's just going to continue. That's just going to continue, and you're going to keep being a human doing instead of a human being, living your best life. So in order to declare it, you've got to know what it is. Okay, next, still part of that same one about declaring is giving yourself permission to have heart's desires, because there are plenty of people out there. It's not said with judgment in any way. I was there myself, so no, I'm definitely not judging it. Where if you're not quite there yet with feeling worthy and feeling enough all on your own, that's the first step, because that's the foundation for everything in your life. Because without knowing your own value, the rest just isn't. It's like trying to build a house without the cement part. I mean, you just, you can't, or you could, but it wouldn't last, and it wouldn't be, real. It could fall down at any second. It's like a lot of wasted effort putting up walls and roofs and windows if there's no cement foundation, So that's just how it is. Okay, so give yourself permission to want stuff. And then the second one, I got to give a shout out to a couple of somebodies. I was listening to Mel Robbins today. She's a new one, sort of new. I mean, not like today new, but newer than, let's say, Oprah. I've listened to forever. But I really like Mel. I like her style. I think she and I have a lot in common, energetically wise and everything like that. So I was listening to her talk about this whole thing, and how, it is about training. It is about brain training. There is no question. So there are touchy-feelies out there, and you can go listen to them. And I've listened to them too. And, they're maybe, that's a little different perspective. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about thoughts come first. We know that. Think about it. And I say with my students, if you want to carve through, Melissa's skull with kindness and anesthesia, and remove her brain and put it up in a fishbowl in formaldehyde, what is Melissa feeling? Answer, nothing. Okay, so thoughts first, feelings second, actions or behaviors are last. So we know that, and so therefore we got to really, really select carefully the thoughts that we allow to expand. It's very, very important. Okay, so after declare it, that's the first step. Then we have entering into a place of non-resistance. And this can be hard for people that are like super type A, because what do you mean? I have to slow down and let it happen? In a sense, yes, because we have to listen to the inner voice to kind of get the direction where we're headed. That said, it doesn't mean, I'm going to declare, I want a house in Aspen, Colorado, and then I'm going to go sit on the couch and have a sandwich. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, not at all. Not at all, not at all. So, okay, so we got to get into the non-resistance mode. That means getting rid of the self-doubt. People are telling you you're nuts for wanting to move or get a new job. You have it so good. You have this solid salary, you have retirement. Like, what are you thinking about? That's silly. Or, what do you mean you want to? I was listening to a woman who called in on Mel's program saying that she, wants to leave her hometown and was in her 30s and then. And there's she's getting lots of resistant talk from people in her family and things. And so I gotta clear out the crap. Okay? The why, all the reasons why you can't do whatever. If you got the itch, scratch it. Life is short. Well, this is not a dress rehearsal. I'm also not saying be reckless. Like you're married, you got 3 little kids. It's not, oh, I'm going to go, join the Peace Corps for 2 years. It's probably not the best plan unless everybody's on board with it, and probably still not the best plan if you have 3 little kids, right? So that's not what I'm talking about, is living recklessly. We're talking about, if you have a genuine, authentic itch, not like a that kind of itch where it's reckless, but an authentic passion to become that artist you are, to build your dream house, to run a marathon, to ski Tuckerman's Ravine. I can't help it, the snow's here. Ski Zermatt, that's definitely in my bucket list. If I need a bigger bucket, I got lots of stuff I want to do. But clearing out the negatives that people are saying to you and that you're saying to yourself. So that's the second one. Declare it, enter the place of non-resistance, then realize after that, okay, you're like, we are now in training. We are in brain training. Like, okay, and, lift up. Okay, so we're actively training our neurons, which means nerve cells, right, in the brain, to make your heart's desire a reality. Here's the thing, we know this for a fact. Neurons that wire together, fire together. In fact, that's what memories are made of. People think they can just, carve open, somebody's skull with kindness and anesthesia and pull out a memory. Well, no, you can't. It's going to be a cluster of neurons that have had so much repetition and pattern with seeing similar things over and over that becomes a memory, and then they fire together. That's how it works. So neurons, this is what we want to do is have them wire together so they fire together, and then kind of build, and that's how we attract what we want. So we got to think it first. Remember, without thoughts, there's nothing happening. Okay, so we got to think it. Thoughts lead to feelings. We feel it, and this is very important to feel it as if you already have it. Feel it as if it's that dream, that log cabin you want to build in the woods, the relationship, the kids, the traveling, the being promoted at where you work. You got to feel it like the boss just walked in and said, hey, guess what? This is a good day for you. Let's go out to lunch and we'll talk about it. And then out comes the new responsibilities and more cash. And maybe even some perks like a gym membership, who knows? But you got to already feel it. You got to feel it because you can't be surprised, because that's not authentic. You got to, and that's where the worthiness part comes in. Because if it's a shock, you don't really believe you deserve it, which means you're not going to get it. It's how it works. And then receiving mode. And then really, if we do the 5th one, I'd have to do a shout out to Abraham Hicks, because she talks about the receiving mode, and then the next step is getting really good at being in the receiving mode. I'm really good at being in the receiving mode. You got to clear that stuff out. And so this means, and it obviously doesn't mean that just because we've worked away from the resistance stuff doesn't mean that it's, I'm thinking like that game Whack-A-Mole, at the carnivals or the fairs or whatever. When then you hit one and one other pops up. It doesn't mean that you're completely clear like a Zen monk, and even a Zen monk has stuff pop-ups occasionally, right? So it just means you whack them back down, because you're actively in brain training. So it's not like you're in this, at the summit of a mountain and you've got absolutely no resistant thoughts coming through your head, because they're going to try. But when you get so good at it, you have your black belt in manifestation, you're like, okay, calmly, whack, goodbye, and that's it. Or like John Kabat-Zinn says, pop them like bubbles. So make thoughts into things by making thoughts into things. So this is another thing, and Mel was talking about vision boards today. And first she was like, talking about making a wish and blowing it, and that's like so 7th grade, and she's really right about that. Vision boards can be helpful as long as they're done well. Okay, so the advantage of a vision board is it takes something that's kind of floating around in our head and brings it into conscious reality, because we're doing a little collage with stuff we cut out of a magazine, or we're using markers, or we have stickers and uplifting affirmation or whatever. So it brings it into reality. So it's very helpful in that sense, especially if you put it on the fridge or in front of your desk or next to your bed or somewhere super prominent. So it's good in that way. I think And Mel was talking about this, where one place people make errors with vision boards is that they put sort of what's at the end there instead of the steps. So she was talking about how somebody, vision boards are loaded with beach houses, these $10 million. And meanwhile, she was talking about you're sitting in a desk in your parents' guest room, or, you're downstairs in your own basement, or, and it just seems, it's overwhelming. It seems so unreachable, and it is reachable. It's just, we need to bridge it. We need to bridge little, bridges to there, because otherwise what it's sending the message is, this is so big, so huge, this is for other people. And this is really not possible, but I'm going to throw some wishes and some hope at it, and maybe I'll get lucky. That's what underneath is what we're thinking. This isn't really real. I'm just doing this vision board thing because, maybe it'll happen. That's what it's saying to us. We have to make it less large. Just like when on Abraham's show once, there was a guy saying, I'm really hardworking, and big work ethic and all that. And what I really want is the big money. And the big money says the big money means that's the hard to get stuff. That's the really huge stuff that's only for a few select people. That's the stuff that's, not very touchable. That's what it does with the beach house thing. It doesn't mean you won't have a beach house. You can definitely have a beach house. I'm a big fan. But we've got to celebrate all the accomplishments on the way. Put lots of things on there that are small victories. Picture yourself talking with your boss about the promotion, and picture the meeting going really, really well. Picture them coming in and having that conversation. Wow, I realize you're reaching for this, but until we get there, we're going to bump you up to here. And picture little victory after little victory after little victory. Mel also talks about, it's in lots of people's lists to run a marathon. I did that in a fast 5+ hours. It was really good. But picture yourself in the reality of it, like, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, which might be hard. It will be hard probably in the beginning, and doing it. Picture yourself overcoming, getting up at 5 in the morning. Picture yourself, because I can talk about this because I did the whole training thing back then. When you do the 13-miler, and then when you do the 18-miler, and picture yourself mapping it out. Picture it being pouring rain, and you have, a month left to the marathon. You've got to do the 18-miler. Your body's not going to know what hit it, right? And then you might bump it up to 20. You got to picture yourself running in the rain, because it's your only day off from work, and you got to get the mileage in, and that's it. Wrap yourself up in Gore-Tex, and this way, when it actually comes, and it might rain on the marathon, then you're ready for it. In fact, that just brought me to another idea that I did not even plan in this. The other day it was the Mindful Times newsletter that I kick out for Champlain. I put a little thing on there with Michael Jordan. It's like 3 minutes long. And the newsletter was about how I didn't use the word manifest in that, I don't think, but basically we become what we practice. We become what we practice. And in that little 3-minute video, Michael Jordan kind of summed up what we're talking about here. He says he practices every little practice where he's just in a regular t-shirt or whatever, and their coaches are yelling, blah, blah, blah. Every single practice he looks at as a little mini game. He practices as if every single one is a game. And he says this way, when I get in the game, it's not new. It's like, it's just routine. I don't really even think a lot. I just kind of do, because it's all just embedded in me at that point, because I've done the drill over and over and over and over again. And this is what we're talking about, because the brain loves repetition. So if you want to run the marathon, have the beach house, get the promotion, travel, whatever it is, you got to have your eye on the prize with the repeat, 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 and the baby steps. Celebrate the baby steps, and remember to whack-a-mole any resistant thoughts, because thoughts, when they grow up, turn into beliefs. And that's where we want to land with receptive mode, is believing it as if we already have it. Okay? If you want to make an appearance on a certain show, picture that person calling you up or sending you an email. Okay? Picture that happening. And then it will. It's all the steps we have to go through. So that's it. So declare it, enter into a place of non-resistance. Brain training, realize we're in brain training. Like, picture yourself, and you can even picture yourself in a little, like, gym clothes and stuff. And then 4 is receiving mode. I'm just going to add the 5th because Abraham Hicks says, get really good at being in receiving mode. Just really get good at it. And people throw snark at you along the way. Rather than biting the hook, just send the good vibes privately. Just, okay, send the love. Don't let them take you down. Don't let them take you down. Send the love, send the love, send the love. And that's it. Okay. Manifestation, how to turn your heart's desires into reality. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from this beautiful snowy day in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.